I like that. I like that a little bit. Welcome everyone to Equally Yoked. I am Miss Merrilee. If you are joining me for the first time tonight, welcome. Everything I talk about is about love. So it's human behavior, learning how to see things differently, how to have a mind shift so that we can shift our energy into a more positive vibration in order to attract the things that we want. But in order to do that, of course, we have to have greater understanding. So that's what I provide. Hopefully, I provide for you. I'm sure there's things out there that you're going to agree with naturally, and some things you might have questions about. And I invite you to come to the stage and get clarity. Ask me a question. I love it. You're always welcome to join me. And, if you're listening to this on the replay, you can always get a hold of me at Merrilee at merrileeofsolana.com. You can go to my email there or just subscribe at merrileeofsolana.com. It's right there. And we'll get a conversation going. So tonight, we're going to talk about rumors and gossip because rumors and gossip are ugly, right? Hi, Alexis. Thank you for joining. Um, none of us like rumors or gossip, but we're all somehow a part of it, whether we want to be a part of it or not, right? Somebody's talking, and even a lot of times it's not true. So let's talk about maybe the difference. First of all, rumors. A rumor is like the game telephone. Somebody says something into the little cup or into your ear, and then you try to remember it and you pass it on. But then some little fact changes, and then the next person, next thing you know, when you get around the whole room, the story has completely changed, right? And it's become rumor, and nobody knows what the truth is. And it's like, why? Why would anybody want to participate in that? That is negative energy. And when we put out that kind of energy, we get that back. We are inviting it back to us. Just like that circle, what you put out to your neighbor will go around, 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 and then come right back to you. And when it hits you on the backside, it hurts. So, the lesson tonight is definitely not to participate in those types of things. And you know what? A lot of times, we don't realize what we're doing. Forgive them, Father, for they do not know what they do, right? Or they know not what they do. All right, well, that's us. So we're going to talk a little bit about self-awareness. Everyone has that, at least one person, right? At least one in your circle that you feel that you can trust. You can trust with those things that you shouldn't be talking about, shouldn't be gossiping, letting other people know. Still, it's just like, well, don't say anything, but this is what I heard, right? And so then you're talking about another person. Now, the person that you're telling it to may or may not know them. And if they don't know them, shame on you, because that is gossip, total gossip. All right. If it doesn't have anything to do with you and you're talking about two other people that you know, or one other person and then their relationship with somebody else that maybe you don't know, whatever it is, and now you're telling your quote unquote trusted person, you're gossiping. And that gossip turns into rumor because it gets sensationalized, and again, more negative energy. So how does it even start? Well, typically somebody's telling a story, right? Somebody got miffed. All right. Someone is disgruntled in their reality. And I say their reality because, there's two sides to every story. But when someone is telling their side, they're literally just telling their side, and they feel that they're being objective. They're being fair. Their reality and their truth is what is true on both sides of the street. And it's like, no, not necessarily. You might be missing out on some things. You may not be seeing clearly, and the communication may not have been there. So for the disgruntled person, they're typically, it's like a web. It's so involved. When you're disgruntled like that, you feel victimized, something is unfair, right? You had an expectation that wasn't filled, and there's circumstances that you can't control. And in that frustration, you have to release that pressure. And in releasing that pressure, you go to your one trusted person that you can tell about this other person that you're so angry with. So you're in that moment, you're spreading rumors and gossip because the story is being framed according to your perspective. But if your perspective isn't objective, it's not from a higher plane, then literally there's a lot of things you may not be considering. It's like a cube. You're only looking at one side. You don't see it from above, and you don't see the sides, and you definitely don't see the other side. So when we're not able to do that, but we're blowing off steam to our trusted friend, let's say, well, now what happens is the trusted friend is listening and listening. It's like, oh, they might be understanding, like, oh, you poor thing. I mean, they're terrible. How could they do that to you? Now they're on the bandwagon, and they don't even know the truth about the other side of the story. If you don't have discernment, if you can't ask questions, well, how did this happen? Right? Well, that the audience there is going to fall into that trap. And if the one who feels like a victim is trusting the wrong person because they don't know who to trust, the person they're talking to is going to spread that story to other people who they may or may not trust. It doesn't matter. They don't even care. There's no alliance, there's no loyalty whatsoever. So they're just going to talk about you. They're going to talk about your story. They're going to talk about the other person and how wretched they are according to, what was framed. They really don't know. And this is how it all begins. It's terrible. And the person who is, we'll call them the innocent party because they don't know what's going on. The person who feels victimized, who framed the story, who is gossiping, the person across them doesn't know. And they can't defend themselves, right? They can't correct the record. There's nothing. And if they find out that a story has been told, that people are treating them differently because of that relationship, and they know something was said, it wasn't quite right, but apparently these other people believe the story. And so you get really angry and you want to defend yourself. You want to come out and say, that's not true at all. This is exactly what happened, and tell your whole story. Well, the moment you do that, well, it's just, it's like you're both in the same pot. You're both guilty. It's just, people look at you like, I don't know who to believe. All right. So you've got a story and you've got a story, and there's no alliance, no care. It's just now the two of you have become a part of the cause, the purpose to gossip. Now the third person, the spectator, is going to look at the two of you going back and forth about who's right and what the correct story was and blah, blah, blah. And the spectator is going to go to their friends and say, oh my gosh, you're not even going to believe. Now these two people, they were fighting. He was saying this, she was saying that, and then that was going to be, and boom. That's how a reputation is ruined. Isn't it terrible? Absolutely terrible, horrendous. And I don't think there's anybody out there who has not been a victim of this. Because too often what happens is we don't have the self-respect to keep our mouth shut. We don't know how to hold in, whatever our emotions are, that negative, I'm so angry right now. I'm so if I do feel victimized, right? If I don't feel that this is going down fairly and I don't know where to go and I spread it out, I don't know how to handle it. So if I don't know how to handle it, you're in trouble. Now the reputation is being built. And so what we want to do is kind of look at this a little closer, to understand what the heck do we do to stop this from happening. And why do we want to stop it from happening? Well, because rumors and gossip only add to the collective negative vibration, and it passes from person to person, and it gets bigger and bigger like a vortex of negativity, and it affects everyone. And so what happens is we all remain suppressed in this low vibrational state that takes away our power to create. So if we want to elevate out of that, we have to find a way to stop spreading gossip and rumors. Stop talking about people. If you don't have something good to say, don't say anything at all. And specifically, not just, if you don't have anything good to say, it's your own situation. Your own situation. People don't get along. There's going to be a disagreement. You're going to fight unless you're consulting a professional who can give you an objective opinion and keep your information private. You don't let out your private business to people you quote unquote trust. You have to learn how to manage the injustice and the potential for rumors, the potential for a hit to your ego. It's like people are going to believe what they want to believe. And unfortunately, people have a tendency to want to believe the negative. They want to cut you down at the knees, especially if you're all that. You're not all that. I heard this about you. And so they definitely want to bring you down a couple notches. And that's just terrible. We should not be like that. We should be elevating each other. We should learn how to be more objective and question what is going on to get to the truth before we judge prematurely and then start spreading these things to ruin people's reputations and their character. That's not the kind of person I want to be. I don't want to ruin anybody's character or their reputation. I'm not going to stick my toe in there at all. No, I'm not going to be guilty of that. So we have to learn how not to be guilty of that. So what happens when, I get into some sort of disagreement, scuffle, somebody's angry, right? And because of their lack of maturity, they want to spread their story, frame it their own way, ruin my reputation. What am I going to do? Well, the first thing I have to do, my priority is to maintain my self-respect. Okay, I'm not going to go out there crying to everybody my poor sob story that it's so unfair that so-and-so is talking about me. No, I'm going to let that person be who they are. I'm going to let them put out whatever energy they want to put out. And see, a lot of us have a problem with that because we're thinking, no, I have to correct the record. I have to stand up for myself. I have to let people that this is not true. No. You know what's missing in that equation? Faith. You got to have faith. You have to know that if we're going to remain pure, we have to have faith that there is something greater watching over us from above. It's a bird's eye view of everybody's behavior and thoughts, their actions or reactions and responses, whatever it is we're doing, somebody's watching. And so when there's an injustice like that and you feel like coming out swinging, going, how dare you? How dare you attack my character like that? You got to take a deep breath. And you have to know that if you're going to stay pure, you got to wait. You have to learn how to be patient. Don't say anything. Don't say anything, because most of the time, if you say something prematurely, you're going to say the wrong thing. And then if you say the wrong thing, now it's just a battle. there's no credibility to either side. So if you don't know that you're saying the right thing, like really knowing the words of love to say to that person, don't say anything at all. It's incriminating and you're adding to the pot of negativity. So faith says, okay, I'm going to let you behave like that. And imagine them being like the Tasmanian devil. They're spinning around. They're so angry and they're spitting out all these things. And, they want to take you down so bad, because they're so angry that they can't control you, how you think or what you've done and whatever it is they think. Understand the lack of maturity. Okay. They don't know how to handle themselves. They don't know how to frame the situation. Their communication skills are lacking. Okay. So if you're going to take all that personally, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to stir up the pot and then you're going to boil with it, kind of say. You know what I mean? It's like, just don't get involved. What'll end up happening is that person will, throw out all this negativity as much as they can, as far as they can. They're going to try to rile up all their troops to get on board, to hate that person, right? And some people will fall for it. They'll be like, wow, really? I never thought they would do that. I can't believe it. Thank you so much for telling me. Right? It's foolish. And meanwhile, you're watching going, wow, really? You don't know me better than that? You're actually going to believe this? Can you not see the difference in our character? In your head, you're saying, you can't say this, but in your head, you're thinking, okay. You have to mentally elevate yourself. You have to see yourself higher, sitting higher and looking down at this drama and let it go. And have faith that the truth is always revealed. Always. Because let me tell you what happens. The person that is spreading all of these rumors and gossip, right? The people who are on that bandwagon going, oh, wow, I'm so glad you told me. And oh, that's just terrible. They don't realize that they are next in line to get burned. You don't trust that person. You never trust a person who is out to really get another, who is just ready to crucify another person. You don't trust them. Believe me when I tell you, you're next. You align with the person who is honorable, who has integrity, who has self-respect, to be able to stand back and not defend themselves and wait and watch. It's like, okay, I'm going to let you build your whole laundry list of things that I've done and all the injustice. I'm not that great and I'm just the worst person that there is. Go ahead and make your list. I'm going to acknowledge it. And I don't need to say a thing. And anybody who's lined up behind you that believes that list, that's fine with me too. Because the truth is going to be known and I'm not going to defend myself. But you have to have the strength of character to be able to do that. You have to know who you are. And you also have to recognize that anybody who is lining up behind that, that person who is willing to crucify somebody else, they're not somebody you want to align with. They're dangerous. They're going to hurt you. So be wise. And in having faith, faith says that eventually you are going to have an opportunity to ask questions. Eventually. So what that means is that your accuser right? Who was spreading gossip and rumors about you and all this stuff. And, you've held back. You haven't said a thing. And people are going to notice, believe me. When you're silent, at first, it seems like, well, I guess you have nothing to say. You must be guilty. You got to endure that. Just endure it. Whatever it is that they've got to say, endure it. And then somebody, somehow, I'm telling you, because the universe is always working in our favor, somebody will come forward and you'll have an opportunity. If you listen, they will expose what was said about you, who said it. They'll ask a question. Something will uncover what transpired. And that is your opportunity to ask questions, not to defend yourself, not to deny what was said. Never push back. You acknowledge it and go, really? Mm-hmm. And what do you think about that? Put it back on them. Put it back on them. You've got nothing to defend. If you believe that where you stand is in honor and that you have another side of the story that nobody's asking, instead they wanted to convict you, right? You have to know those people are not your friends. They don't want to know the truth. They don't want to understand you. If they don't want to understand you and they don't want to know the truth, you don't need them. So if you don't need this kind of person in your life, why the heck are you going to defend yourself to them? No. You got to stand right with God. Okay, if you hold yourself accountable to the Most High and you know that the universe is watching you, your behavior, what you're thinking, your ability to control yourself, to control your responses and what you say, and you don't cross the boundary and you wait for your accusers to come forward to give you an opportunity to speak, I'm telling you, it's going to work in your favor and you will elevate. People will look at you and go, wow, wow. I'm impressed. They'll know. Yeah. So the lesson tonight is, how do rumors and gossip, for anybody who came in late, how do they get started? Well, they get started by a story. Somebody was miffed. Somebody trusts another. And then it's like lighting a match and it goes like wildfire. And the person who, is the one who's, being talked about, let's just say that's me. You got to wait. You got to wait and watch. And you got to know that, like on my side of the street, I'm not telling everybody. I'm not screaming, on the corner, all the injustices and what happened and this, that. I'm not doing that. I know what happened. And my turn will come. And the record will be corrected on its own. Because when you ask the right questions, the truth is revealed. And people go, oh, uh, oh, I hadn't thought about that. Exactly. You see what I'm saying? So you don't need to cross over. You don't need to go chasing people down, trying to say, hey, wait a minute. That's not true. That didn't happen. This is the truth. No, I'm going to stay right here. And anybody who has the courage to come to me to ask me for my side, I know what to do. I'm going to say, what did you hear? And they're going to tell you, well, this is what they said. Mm-hmm. And what do you think? You see what I'm saying? You don't need to defend yourself. That's not the opportunity to come forward and make assumptions that you already know what's being said. And so you're going to defend every single point. No. You're going to stay calm. You're going to ask questions. You're going to see how this person feels. Because right there in that moment, it's between you and the person who's asking you, not the person who started the rumors. And that's how you gain control. Because that one person who's giving you their time, thinking, I don't know, whatever, maybe that they were going to I don't know, they're going to get to the bottom of it, let's just say. Whatever. But they had the courage to come to you. You're going to earn their respect. And they're going to step back and go, huh, I did make a lot of assumptions there. They're going to learn a lesson about not only, let's say, me, but a lesson about themselves, that they're judging too quickly. Stop judging and don't be talking about people because you don't know the story. If you don't have firsthand knowledge, if you're not a part of it, then don't add to it and start spreading it amongst people because it'll just keep going. You have to know it's going to keep going. Anytime you tell somebody, well, I mean, this is just between you and I, very rarely is that true. Very rarely. It'll keep going. So you got to watch what you're saying because it'll come right back to you. So it's better to keep your side of the street clean. Okay. Don't be a part of the gossip. If you are frustrated, if you know somebody is, doing you dirty, talking bad about you, they are threatening your reputation and challenging your character, and they've got people lined up all over the place, ready to burn you at the stake. It's like, hold your ground. Hold your ground. You don't have anything to prove. If you know that you're innocent, you have a side of the story. First thing you're going to do is you maintain self-respect. Always. This is according to the laws of love. Number 1, maintain your self-respect. A lot of times that lesson is lost. The interpretation of self-respect means, I'm loving myself. I'm going to go up there and I'm going to set the record straight. I'm going to speak for myself. I'm not going to be a doormat. I'm not going to let anybody bully me. I'm going to go right in. No. Self-respect is to remain calm and be respectable. Respectable. Okay? Keep your suit on. Don't lose it. And the reason why and the way you can keep doing that is by having faith. Having faith means that I know what comes after this. I know without a shadow of a doubt that the truth is going to be revealed. I don't have to reveal it. It's not my job. God is going to reveal the truth. It may take a minute and it may take a hit to my ego because the devil is ugly and wicked. The devil wants to prove that we don't have that kind of power. We don't have that kind of self-control. We're going to break at any moment. All he has to do is push a little harder, a little harder. No. You have to know that you stand firm with a higher power. And that higher power is the judge. That higher power is the light. It will shine on all that darkness and the truth will be known. And you don't have to say a thing. That's how you know. You've got a crown. Don't ever take it off. Okay? And the next thing is your power is in your questions. Anybody who comes to you, including your accuser, right? The one who's spreading all the gossip and everything about you. If your accuser comes to you, and of course they have framed their story according to their perception, their shortcomings, their insecurities, their experiences, their expectations for you, their entitlement, who knows? But they framed it in their own way and they're failing to see it clearly from all sides. You got to know that. So your goal, or my goal in this situation, is to try to understand their side of that cube. What are you seeing? Never mind that, I see your immaturity. I see what you've tried to do to me. I see what you expect of me. But I'm going to put that aside for a moment to try to understand you. I'm going to try to understand why you're so angry. And then we're going to, by my questions, we're going to get to the bottom of it lovingly. And if we can ask the right questions at the right time, what we do is we are disarming them. We're calming them down. And we usually get to a point of apology. And then there's it's like okay, because you're not reacting. You're not fighting back. You're not fueling the fire. You're recognizing their fire and you're going to let it burn out. That's how we tackle all of these things with love. Remember who you are and what you are. And we each have the ability to make these decisions. Unfortunately, without any kind of education or map or anything, it's hard to know what to do when these things happen. All right. So anyone who wants to come to the stage to ask or to join in the conversation, you're welcome to come up now. And I love seeing my friends on here, and Charles and Katrina. And is it Rocksteady? You've been listening here for a while. And Rajiv, thank you. You kind of came in at the tail end there. But yeah, we're talking about rumors and gossip, how to recognize it, how they start, and what to do, when you become a part of it. Even when you didn't know. A lot of times that happens too. It's like you didn't even know you were a part of a rumor until people around you start treating you differently. And you're like, what's going on? It's because somebody started talking about you and you don't know. But it's okay. Because every moment of every single day, we have the opportunity to prove who we are, to maintain our self-respect and our character. Because that's what life does. It gives us an opportunity at every single moment to prove who we are. Am I honorable? Do I know how to temper what I say? And do I know how to word the communication in a way that is not offensive to people? These are the things that we collectively, if we focused on ourselves, more of us would fall in love with each other, not just romantic love, but just like really have solid friendships, relationships, business partners. It's just people that we could really, really fall into. And I don't mean lean into, I mean fall into, like become one with. Solid. It's like, I know I can count on you. I know that you would never do that. And more importantly for me, I would never do it. I would never hurt you. Even when you deserve it. Even when you piss me off so bad for all the injustices that you have done, I'm still going to maintain my honor. Because it's not about you. It's about me and my relationship with God. All right. Well, that is the show for tonight. If nobody wants to come up and join me and give a little something, then I will wrap it up. But I do appreciate you being here, and it is Monday night. And I put on here the Merrilee show because that was my original, but this is actually Equally Yoked. And I didn't know how to change the little title on there. Oh, well, forgive me. In any case, yes, thank you. I love you all. I want you to have a beautiful night, and that is it for me. I don't know when. Monday nights I'm going to be here, but on other nights, when I'm inspired, when I have a message, I will come back. All right. I love you guys. Talk to you later. Good night.